August is here, and it's hazy and humid, and thick mist coats the ground most mornings. The plants are flourishing and reaching their peak, and the days are slowly getting shorter as the first thoughts of autumn are sneaking into my mind, just craving some relief from the intense summer heat. Truly, this season has had such high temperatures and wild weather patterns. Strong sunshine and torrential rainfall have blended in a way that the forest feels exceptionally lush, and at times the mountains felt almost tropical. Each time my birth month returns, I feel called to sort of check in and assess my current chapter. What are my goals? Am I living authentically, following my own path, indulging what fuels my fire, making the most of this lifetime? This month, I'll turn 26 and officially enter the later part of my 20s, and that is really causing a lot of awakenings in me. Feeling time and being hyper aware of it, not in a stressful way, but in a mindful sense, as to not waste any, since it is so fleeting and precious. In this rotation around the sun, I want to become more independent and in tune with myself. One of the greatest gifts we get on this earth is to be our genuine selves, because no one else can be that distinct set of traits and passions that makes you who you are. And as a part of these goals this year, I want to learn more self-reliance skills, especially as the homestead journey is beginning here at the A-frame cabin. So I sat by the falls and reflected and journaled about what I can do to make this a reality, started planning, and got to work this week. I should preface this by saying that I'm not starting entirely from scratch. I've spent years working on an off-grid cabin alongside my partner Kyle, acquiring skills with power tools and hands-on work, learning the basics of renovations. Truly, that is where I spent most of last summer as well, working not only on the structure, but also the property, handling a chainsaw and big logs, learning to properly cut a dead tree, maintaining propane levels, having a system for clean drinking water, working with off-grid specific tools, and doing things every day that scared me. Then when we moved to the A-frame cabin, Kyle began teaching me the basic ins and outs of the tractor and how to operate large equipment and machinery, things like plowing the driveway and securing enough firewood for a full cold season. And that was serious, humbling work. We will definitely prepare better for the winter this year, so we aren't out in the snow splitting wood every day. I've also dedicated years to local foraging, and not only edible but also medicinal, learning medicinal medicines and holistic remedies, finding out what is safe, how to identify things. This year we built a 20 by 30 garden where we grow a lot of our own food, though we will have to expand into fields eventually and likely do a root cellar. Been practicing things like canning, jarring, pickling, preserving, and the whole process with that. Getting acquainted with sourdough. For the future, I'd love livestock. I want to have an apiary, a year-round greenhouse. More of the skills that people had all throughout human history that we've been losing in the past couple hundred years as we become more reliant on other people. In an effort to be more self-reliable and sustainable, I knew we needed a composting system as soon as possible, so we started leveling out an area right by the garden and what will be adjacent to the chicken coop. Composting is a great way to recycle kitchen scraps, things from the garden, leaves, grass clippings, manure, and more. And in return, you get a very rich, nutrient-dense fertilizer for your plants. Typically, a bin can take 3 to 6 months to give you what you're looking for, but I am using a 3-bin composting system. So I built a wooden structure with galvanized mesh for aeration. Once I start getting closer to compost in the first bin, I'll transfer that to the second and start a new batch in the first. Keep transferring down the line so I can have 3 times more compost. I was making really great progress, and I could have finished that first day, but in line with the crazy weather we've been having, a huge thunderstorm was approaching very quickly, so I had to call it for the day. I am really on a summer salad kick right now. Just so easy to use a bunch of vegetables at once, and these are great as standalone dishes if you just need something light and nourishing, or you could put it as a side in a fuller meal. This might be weird, but I saw we had some tortilla chips inside, and I think the combo is so delicious. Maybe it's the dressing, since it has that fresh tang to it like some mild salsas do. I don't know, this is really good. I love that I have my own little grocery store right next to the house out in the garden. Down in the basement we have our whole setup with Jackery, and I just want to make sure that this is charged all the way because we have been losing power quite often this whole summer season, and having the Jackery has been such a relief, truly. Okay, it's at 100%. Hi, Harper. Oh, are you so interested? A few months back, we installed a transfer switch, which allows us to source energy from a generator in times of outages. And for our generator, we opted to go with the Jackery 2000 Plus solar generator. And I'm very excited to say that they are the sponsor of this video. Genuinely, it's an amazing home backup power system, and it was created to support a wide range of devices, up to 6,000 watts with its 2 to 24 kilowatt hour expandable capacity. The 2000 Plus is a sustainable and reliable power source, as it uses advanced solar technology, and that's crucial during natural disasters. It's got rapid solar recharge, so it reaches full power in just 2 hours, and that is an industry-leading rate. And if you decide to charge it in the wall, you'll get up to 80% battery level in just 100 minutes, while enjoying an under 30 decibel quiet charging mode. And that makes sure that your home stays operational when the power goes out. It has a very portable, eco-friendly design that's perfect for maintaining energy independence, giving you peace of mind in emergencies by keeping critical systems running smoothly. I don't have to worry about things like food in my fridge spoiling or having hot water, and that's thanks to its 3 to 6 kilowatt output power. And then there's the ultra-long standby mode, so during long-term storage, you don't have to worry about power consumption. The 2000 Plus also has an emergency power backup function with automatic power switching in 20 milliseconds. And to seal the deal, there is a 5-year full warranty. The 2000 Plus makes me feel safe, ready, and self-reliable. So whether it's an unexpected blackout or you just want to embrace a greener future, check out what the Jackery 2000 Plus solar generator can power for you. All you need to do is click on the link that's most applicable to you in the description below. And thanks again to Jackery for sponsoring this video. I was short one board, just one more cut, and I could have had all of the boards that I needed for the front. So this third and final bin behind me will need that last cut eventually, but since they're really convenient sliding in and out, I am going to store them in the shed until I really do need to use them, I think, and just add them as the piles build up. But you know what? It's basically done. It's functional. I have a composting section now. It's something I've wanted forever, so I'm so happy. I knew I needed the wood chips for the compost, and maybe 3 years ago, Kyle bought a wood chipper and it got left at the off-grid cabin, and we thought it was a lost cause at this point. It kind of got buried along with all the projects we were doing. But when I opened it up, only the nuts and bolts really needed some love. I'll tell you, the manual was no help at all. It was completely shredded and stuck together. But besides some mouse leftovers, the wood chipper itself looked to be in really good condition. So I spent a long time cleaning it all up and practiced assembling it without the manual, since I could not get it to open without ripping. This is not my strong suit or my favorite thing to do, but it's a good exercise to awaken that part of my brain. Here goes nothing.
It's so strangely weighted.
So stupid.
Put your foot on the black bar.
Should I just keep pulling it?
Honestly, yeah. I mean,
What's this? Is this a choke?
yeah, you can try putting it on run. I mean,
Today's the day. I have my compost bin assembled, the wood chipper's ready to go, and now I need to actually start composting. But the thing is, I have all these greens, like kitchen scraps and scraps from the garden, and they're accumulating and almost borderline just rotting. They're getting soggy, and you want a 3 to 4 part browns to greens ratio in your compost. So people will use cardboard sometimes. I'll probably do mostly leaves and wood chips. The wood chips are a nice substance to help break up and aerate the mixture, help the whole process happen properly. The other thing is, wood chippers freak me out, so I'm glad this is a small one. And I don't love loud noises, but I have my headphones and I gotta start this process, so I'm gonna give it a go. We have plenty of sticks around the property. The wood chipper doesn't really take a big stick, so it might take me a little bit to get the amount that I need. Actually, prior to this compost, and I can see it right now because I just watered and it's surfacing a little bit, if there were dead leaves, I would just dig up the soil a little bit and shove them down in and let nature do its thing. So it'll be good to have a dedicated space now, because I don't love when the leaves start coming back up. Alright, so this is scraps from the garden, just flowers that are spent, leaves that were about to fall off. So I do kind of want to break that up. I cannot wait for this to start turning into what we're more familiar with when we look at compost, that rich brown soil looking stuff. I'd say we're off to a good start here. Today's going to be so exciting. I just got my first steam distillation kit, put it all together, and what I can do with that is start making essential oils. And this property has allowed me to grow the most herbs I've ever grown, and though I'm doing a ton of infusions into oils with those, I haven't been able to take the plant material itself and extract it into that concentrated essential oil. And I work with essential oils every day, so this is going to be absolutely game-changing to do the process right here myself from plants I've grown. And so with this pursuit of becoming more self-reliant, I can now depend on myself to produce a huge component of what I do for a living. I'm a little nervous. This is my first batch, but I saw there was a ton of citronella out in the garden, so I went out and harvested it this morning. I have it all gathered in here now, and I want to take the essential oil from that and infuse it into a bug repelling candle, and we'll just see how all the aspects of that play out. Need a lot of plant material to get even just a little bit of essential oil, so today will help me gauge that, though each plant is a little different. But yeah, I've got my pumps rigged up, all of my supplies I believe, so there's only one way to find out if it works. In the end, I got a pretty small amount of the actual oil, but 2 containers full of citronella hydrosol, which is also incredible, and they needed to cure, so I gave them the time to do so and moved on to another project. When I was a little girl, I used to sew at my grandma's house all the time, and somehow I just never really picked it up on my own, but have always wanted to in the background. And now being out here, I'm really realizing how valuable of a skill it is. So I bought my own sewing machine. I've been reading a lot about it, learning, and today I went through threading it all, getting used to the terminology, like what are the different parts and components, and then took on a simple project of just making a bandana because I use them so often and it would help me get used to doing the cuts. I've realized I need a way bigger mat. Just gotta take these little threads off the end, but I'm really happy with how this came out, and the end goal is that I want to be able to create our own clothes from right here in my own office in our home. This is the back side, and I have folded the fabric over itself twice, then also did the reverse stitching at the top here. The next step is something I've wanted to do for 3 or 4 years now, and that's work directly with plants to make fabric dye. Right now there's a ton of goldenrod everywhere. It's one of my favorites. Supposedly you can get a nice rich yellow hue out of it, so I'll go gather some and get my dye bath going and let that sit overnight. Yeah, the sizing of this is great. I did 22 by 22. If I was to tie this right now, it feels really comfortable. was raining so hard this morning at about 3 a.m. that I couldn't even fall back asleep for about an hour. But now everything is so soaked and I don't have to water the garden today, so that's very nice. I'm a little bummed because the more I was reading about this process, the more rabbit holes I've fallen into, and my plan was to use vinegar, a vinegar soak as the mordant. The mordant, there's a couple different kinds, and it basically like opens up the fibers, lets the dye go in better, keeps the dye in, especially so when you wash it, it doesn't fade over time. I think it takes the oils out too. And a lot of people online were saying salt and vinegar, so that's what I have available here. And then the more I looked into it, maybe that isn't the best option and I need alum salts, or I've read things like you can crumple up aluminum foil, but I don't have that. You can also use rusty nails or cast iron or copper pennies. Different ones can impact the color though too. So all of this is a little more complex than I anticipated, but I'm still just going to try the vinegar today, and this will all just be a part of an ongoing experiment, trying different plants, different mordants, different timings. I probably won't wash the bandana as much as I would wash my other clothes, honestly, so I might be okay. I do have to get that vinegar bath going though for the fabric. I've got about an hour until any next steps, so in the meantime the essential oil has been curing. The citronella oil smells so good, it's spot on. I also transferred it into more of a proper jar here that you would see for essential oils. The past couple weeks have been all about learning and embracing all steps of the process, so I'm realizing I do need way more plant matter, which I do have. I just need to devote a full day to essential oil making if I'm going to do it. Like each batch would need my full attention for a full day, going out, gathering, continuing to fill the different parts of the steam distillation system. This amount here that I collected is about enough for a candle this size, so that's what I'll make, and it'll be really nice to have this out on the table while we're eating to repel the bugs. My bandana's rinsed and I've got to transfer just the liquid into here now. That is such a cool color. Okay, here we go. Here's the before. Probably ideally in the future, if I have a whole textile, I'll just dye the whole thing first. That way I'll have a lot of the same color ready to go as opposed to the finished product. This will sit outside until tomorrow and then I'll take it out and see how it came out. I spilt a teeny bit of wax on the side, but that'll wipe off easy. The smell is there, which is really good because if you don't put enough in, you can tell right away. It just kind of smells like nothing or a little bit like whatever your wax would smell like, but this already smells good and I just need to let it cure for about 2 weeks before I burn it. Honestly, I feel like it's good to start out with this tiny one candle because if I was to go rush into a whole batch on my first go, if I made some sort of error, then the whole batch would have that mistake, whereas this way I can hone in on what works and bring that forward, and if something doesn't work, then leave that behind. Alright you guys, it's been 24 hours. Let's see how it came out. Wow. It truly worked. Look at the color. That is a beautiful yellow. I'm so happy with this. That's so beautiful. I just finished my very first batch of the new formulation of my all-purpose salve. So this one's got yarrow, calendula, comfrey, St. John's wort, arnica, and now helichrysum, burdock root, rose hip. I'm doing way more infusions than I ever have, and I also improved the consistency. I took out beeswax because sometimes beeswax can make absorption a little more difficult, so went with more mango butter, more shea butter. It's like honey. It smells really good. There's a couple more essential oils in it now too that are beneficial. I'll just top all of these and then the bandana should be dry. And I'm going to go to the blueberry field. I love this. And just like that, by the end of the week, I had a new handmade, hand-dyed bandana, a composting bin, a working wood chipper, a lot of lessons, failures, triumphs, really just dipping my toes in the water of things I wanted to work on. From here, it's just practice, 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 and not being scared to dive into something new. Although a lot of what I'm looking forward to is probably going to start coming around next year, I'm really enjoying this time I have now to focus on these tasks. For now, it's step by step, day by day, and taking it slow and enjoying sweet moments along the way.